Shadow of the Colossus is a fantastic game. It's an absolute masterpiece in my opinion, and it's my favorite game of all time. I know it's been talked about a lot, but I really wanted to put into words why I love this game so much and what I got from it. This game is about loss. At least that's what I got from it. The game opens up with zero narration, which is sort of a theme for this game. You see a bird, some trees, a waterfall, and then you see yourself, Wander, and his loyal companion, Agro. Next, you see a long bridge that leads into the Forbidden Lands. A bridge that is ever present, tempting you as a way to leave, to quit, to change your mind. And then you enter the sacred temple and lay down the lifeless body of someone clearly important to you. You're trying to save her, by any means necessary. This is shown when the narration begins. The voice speaking to you tells you that this forbidden land can bring back a soul from the dead, but to trespass the land is strictly forbidden. It also explains that with the ancient sword that we possess, it may be possible to resurrect our lost loved one. This is storytelling at its finest, in my opinion. It only gives what's necessary and lets our minds create the rest, leaving that sense of wonder, using our imagination to fill in the gaps. The voice speaking is Dorman, who tells us that they can help us achieve our goal, but at a price. The task we're given is to defeat the 16 colossi that roam the land, to destroy them, and then our wish will be granted. And this is where the game begins. We set off into the Forbidden Lands on our way to the first Colossus, riding our horse Agro into the unknown, guided only by the light that our sword produces. And some people may see this simple story and lack of deeper lore as a negative thing, but I myself see it as a story waiting to unfold in my mind. I was so ready, and I was willing to complete these tasks to find out more, to expand the story, to learn the truth about this land. And then I reached the first Colossus. I was ready. I climbed the giant beast and began my attack, and I was determined to kill it. And I did. I completed the first step in my journey. But quickly, I was hit with a feeling that wasn't accomplishment or excitement. I was hit with guilt. There was slow motion of the creature collapsing to the ground. There was somber music. And then it hit the ground, its final resting place. This creature was merely a stepping stone in achieving my goal initially, but now I saw it for a living, breathing thing that I had killed for selfish reasons. Was it all worth it? I entered a sacred land where these creatures roamed long before I existed, and I began slaying them, all because I couldn't accept loss. How could a game designed to be so grand with epic battles and truly giant creatures make me immediately question my choices and make me not want to finish the game? This is where it really sucked me in, and I knew I was playing something special. Following the victory, I was quickly hit with shadowy tendrils and teleported back to the temple with yet another shadowy figure standing over me. What was this going to cost? I take a quick look at my fallen companion, and then the statue of the first Colossus crumbles. The voice of Dorman speaks again, but there's no congratulations, there's no excitement, just on to the next. Your next foe awaits. Your next victim. Your next kill. I won't touch on all the battles, as that's been done many times, but for me, the most important part of this game was actually in between the battles. Riding on my only companion, Agro, who I would soon to grow to love, he provided me with a way of travel while I rode between my foes, and he sort of kept me company in a way. We're in this together. And if you played the game, then you know where this is going. As I took down my foes one by one, I occasionally got a cutscene to add a small amount of lore to the story. For example, you see a group of people riding on horses, entering into the Forbidden Lands, claiming to be close. They've come to stop me. But what exactly was I doing that would warrant others to try to stop me, to enter the Forbidden Lands themselves? This type of storytelling is my favorite kind. I don't need to be spoon-fed, I just need a little taste, and I can let my mind do the rest. Was I doing something wrong? It certainly felt wrong. But I was doing it for the right reasons, wasn't I? I carried on, progressed the story, navigated the lands upon Agro, who always felt like he had his own personality. He wouldn't quite follow my commands perfectly and would often stop abruptly if we approached a cliff that he didn't want to jump off of. He was beside me throughout. I had grown to love him without a word of dialogue spoken between us. And he'd always been there, heeding my whistle, riding into danger, and assisting me on my journey. And then it happened. This fucking game. As I try to reach the final Colossus, my emotions are high. I've taken so many lives already and ended so many creatures that did nothing wrong. I made peace with my decision to keep going. And then I reached a bridge. A seemingly innocuous bridge. I leapt, and the bridge began to collapse. A little dramatic moment, I thought to myself, but as I approach the end, it's clear we're not going to make it. My heart is racing, and I get launched to safety, but Agro falls. What the fuck? I caused this. I lost him. I took him for granted, and I assumed he'd always been there, but he was gone. I lost him. As he fell, I felt alone. Alone with my choices, my actions. I lost something that was keeping me grounded. But why did my horse's life matter, but the Colossi don't? Is it simply because he was with me from the start, or did I perceive these deaths as a necessity to save someone I loved? Was the trade-off worth it? This part of the game really drove home that there are real consequences for actions, and in order to complete the task, to complete the game, I would have to suffer loss. But not only Agro, but the Colossi themselves. I felt bad. I did have to see this through, and as it is a video game, I kept playing. I climbed the last Colossi just as I did the other 15, and I took him down. I killed him. I completed my task. I could return to the temple one last time, a changed person, but that didn't matter. I saved the one I love. I no longer had to accept the loss. Before returning to the temple, I'm hit with another cutscene. The people have arrived at the temple. They draw their swords and they enter to find the Colossi destroyed. It's too late. Once I'm teleported in, it's clear I've been consumed by something, and they tell me I've been consumed by the dead. At first I was consumed by loss, but that consumption has turned it into something much, much worse. They stabbed me through the chest, and I believed I was dead, but Wander rises to his feet. And the first thing he does is stagger towards his love, who he did all this for. But before he can reach her, he falls, and he succumbs to his wounds. But my actions were not without consequence. Dorman, the creature who guided me through this, has used me. Through my actions, I've released an evil being into this world. For selfish reasons, I sacrificed the lives of many, all for one that was important to me. Eventually, the fight scene allows you to control the demon, but the fight is futile. The Sword of Light is used to seal away the demon once again, to seal me away for good. In the final moments before I'm swept away, the demon transforms back into Wander, and the last thing that he would see was the girl that he loved, in the distance, with him being pulled away from her. Not knowing if he succeeded, only knowing what he caused. As the strangers leave, the giant bridge, the only way into the Forbidden Lands, collapses, meaning there's no escape for anyone left behind. The one that we did all of this for, caused so much pain for, she's been brought back to life, but is now trapped in a forgotten land, one which she can't escape. We saved her soul, but we also doomed her to spend her days lost in an unfamiliar and inescapable land. The last thing we see in this game is our friend Agro. He limps up to her and the two embrace before the credits finally roll. This game is about loss and the things we would do to undo such things. In this fantasy world, Wander chose to do anything necessary to bring back someone he loved, and it consumed him. Maybe sometimes it's hard to let go, and this game is something I could never let go of either. It's my favorite game for a reason, and I've laid out just a few of them here. I tried to touch on a few things that maybe aren't talked about as much as the others. The journey was worth the ticket, and I found myself so conflicted throughout my time spent in the Forbidden Lands. I really wanted to see how the story ended, and it's a video game, so of course I'm going to play it. But there was part of me that didn't like who the main character was becoming, who I was becoming, and I didn't agree with the choices that I was being guided to make. Not every story has a happy ending, and this game shows grief and loss and touches on how we do anything to bring back those we love. This game is about loss. It made me care about what I was doing and the choices I was making, and not all games can do that. In a world where games are churned out and burned through, this one always stuck with me. This game was about loss, and I loved every second of it. Thanks for watching.